ladies and gentlemen, we are back after the Natty, and oh my God, Ciarnan, they actually did it.
Ah, it's great, isn't it?
Those absolute mad lads in Bloomington pulled it off. 16 Natty champions, Heisman winner. Nobody said they could do it. No one thought they could do it.
No.
Feinbaum especially didn't think they could do it because he said giving Cignetti that contract was a mistake, which is wild.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a loon that needs to be put in an old people's home because I mean, like, he's just become the SEC's mouthpiece, and it's not even good anymore.
No, and you could accuse me of carrying water for the SEC. I constantly talk about how they're the best conference by far. And now the Big Ten has rattled off 3 straight natties, so that claim is a little dubious at best now. But to say that Indiana is going to regret hiring, and this was before the natty, so I'm not saying, oh, well, of course they won. So, but what he did in Indiana in year one, if you even take out this year, that's their best season ever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And then it was surpassed by this season. Giving Curt Cignetti that contract before the season was the right move. So no one took him away after you go on this miracle run to do what seemed impossible. For our soccer fans out there, this is probably up there with Leicester City winning the Prem
Yep.
in terms of improbability of things to happen. So we're not just going to bash Paul Feinbaum this whole show, but we definitely could.
Yeah.
Also, Heather Dinich, same thing. She hasn't tweeted since January 13th, I think. You know, you were an ESPN quote unquote insider for college football, and you're not going to post about Indiana winning the national title.
Yeah. They're their hardest team not to love winning that championship. Like the Mendozas, all of them, from the brother to the parents and everyone, like, they're just wonderful. They seem like wonderful people. You've got a psychopath coach and you've got a great storyline. There's nothing bad about Indiana winning. It makes everyone just feel better.
100%. And I've had my issues with Cignetti. I've voiced them on this show, but I'm not going to turn around and go, well, he made fun of the SEC in their scheduling, so I'm pissed that Indiana. No, Indiana winning is a fun story. It's a great story, and it's something that those players, those fans are always going to remember. This is going to help the University of Indiana or any university. I forget where the university is in their name. It's going to help them. It's going to boost their enrollment, which they don't need. They already have almost 1 million alumni throughout the country. And you might be going, that's crazy. There's no way it's 1 million. You're right. It's not 1 million. It's 815,000 living alumni. That number is only going to grow. And it's such a fun story. And honestly, my issue with Curt Cignetti, I have not heard a bad thing about him.
Mm-hmm.
So happy to see it for him. Happy to see it for the Mendozas and everyone at Indiana and the students too. I mean, what a time to be a Hoosier.
Oh, seriously. It couldn't be better.
It's so fun. What did you think of the game?
Initially I was like, oh no, this is just gonna be like a 1 touchdown sort of game where it finishes 10-3. I was getting a little bit concerned about that going into halftime, but then they started rattling off touchdowns and making great plays, and I was like, all right, this is a solid game. And it totally was. The defenses played well on both sides. Miami got after Mendoza every chance they could, so that was fun to see him battle through that. And ultimately, I mean, we kind of got our wish, Kev, with a Carson Beck interception to seal that game off. I mean, just never wrong, just early.
Exactly. I mean, he didn't throw a lot of picks, but he did throw a pick when it mattered most. Yep. And, you know, it sucks. Carson Beck had a really good year. He had a really good game. And just so happened that pick kind of sealed it for him. And then Mendoza didn't have a great game, but he made plays when it mattered. He had that 4th down rushing touchdown to win them the game.
Yeah, that was
And
huge.
just couldn't happen to a better person.
I don't think there's a single college football fan apart from the ESPN pundits who just preach SEC ball and are at this point senile. Everybody else enjoyed that game. Like even like I understand Miami fans, it sucks, it's crushing when your team loses like that. But for everyone else, from all the other Big Ten teams to all the other ACC, SEC, the remaining Pac-2, and the Big 12, every other fan enjoyed watching that game.
100%, except maybe Miami fans at the very end, but throughout, I mean,
Yeah.
look, Miami fans, I'm not going to say the U is back, even by my ridiculous standards. Like, if they won the Natty, that would be a conversation, but it's not necessarily a lost year. Jared on the corner booth was talking about it. They had a really good year. Nobody really expected them to be here, and they played Indiana better than anyone has in these playoffs.
Couldn't agree more.
Them, Ohio State, and Penn State are really the only teams that can say they played Indiana tight and had a chance to win. And yeah, it's a great season for the Hurricanes and something they can build off of to eventually be back.
Very true. Very true. I don't know how many of their seniors or starters are going into the NFL. I don't know if we know just off the top of our heads just yet, but it's one of those things was like that. It's a building block for next year. So I anticipate Miami being fairly close to getting into the playoffs next year, if not in it again. Whether they go all the way like they did last year and ultimately win and or lose, we'll see. But yeah, it's certainly possible.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at their roster real quick just to kind of see how many seniors they have, and Miami's roster does have like fifth year redshirt senior. They have 4 guys who are 6th year redshirt seniors, which is insane that we're at this point in college football. And this is not a Miami thing. A lot of teams are going to have this as well. It's just wild to see.
Yeah, that is nuts.
Like usually it might be one. Like, oh, this guy, he got hurt like 4 years in a row. So he has a bunch of medical red shirts. 4 6th year seniors is wild. Yeah, no, it was a great game. Some shenanigans after the fact. Mark Fletcher talking to Mendoza, kind of congratulating him, and then swinging on another Indiana player. Some reports are the Indiana player commented on Mark Fletcher's dead father. Other people pointing out that player's mother had passed, so he's not going to do that. Where do you land on this, Ciarnan?
I think it was kind of uncalled for both sides. I think it's one of those things that's just like, all right, guys, you lost. Like, heads up, don't talk smack, just get on with it. I don't really know, or I think we're making a bigger deal of it than it really needs to be. But yeah, come on, guys, like keep it together. You lost a big game. It sucks. I know emotions run high, but
yeah, no, I don't disagree on it being a bigger deal or people making a bigger deal of it.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing we've seen. It wasn't a full
by
brawl.
far, yeah.
They were separated. It happened. It sucks. It's something to talk about. But just to go at, Indiana, they're classless because he made a comment on his father. Mark Fletcher's classless because he swung on him after it. Look, shit happened. It sucks. I don't think we'll ever really know exactly what happened there, but it's just something that the media wants to talk about.
Like if Indiana had gone out and like planted their flag on the 50-yard line, that's one thing. But a few choice words here and there that nobody probably recorded, or even if they did, miss the context. So yeah, I don't look too far into those things.
Yeah, and I mean planting their flag, that would have caused legislation to be passed.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we would have gotten the government involved. But both teams going into next year, do you think Indiana can go back to back? And do you think Miami will get back to the Natty next year?
Yeah. I don't know for both. With Curt Cignetti, the way he has brought guys from JMU, they were kind of a known quantity for him. Now, I'm sure there are still others that have either transferred and or will transfer to Indiana because of the Natty win, and I'm sure they're very good, and I know Cignetti knows what he's looking for. Whether he can recreate the type of run he did with Mendoza at the helm, I am unsure. Are they still going to be good, and are they still going to be ones to watch out for? Absolutely. I don't know if they could repeat. And very few teams have. With that being said, on the flip side, Miami is going to be losing a bunch of seniors, especially those redshirt guys. So I think their defense will probably suffer. And I think anybody is a good enough replacement for Carson Beck, so their quarterback situation won't falter that much. But other than that, I think they can both certainly make the playoffs again next year. I just don't know if they'll have the same run of success that they had this year.
Yeah, and this is not to discredit Indiana. I do think early on, at least, some teams went, yeah, they were good last year, but it's Indiana. So
yeah, that's exactly where I was as a Penn State fan. I'm like, yeah, we're playing Indiana, but come on, like it's not that big of a deal. And now I'm like, I am legitimately terrified to have to face them next year. I don't even think we do, actually. Now that I think about it,
lucky you.
Right?
And
cakewalk season.
So I do think that there will be a bigger target on their back. And with Indiana, they are such an old team. They have a bunch of dudes who are fifth-year redshirt seniors. That's always going to create sort of a leadership vacuum. It's going to cause not issues, but when you have older guys playing that much at the college level and then they all leave at once, that'll be the vacuum with their leadership. Like I said, you'll have to find other ways to replace that. And I trust Curt Cignetti to find diamonds in the rough and just get guys who can play the way he wants them to. So I do expect them to still be very competitive. I do expect them to make the college football playoffs. I don't know if they will be going on this 16-0 run again next year. And then on the flip side, Miami. Look, I've been very negative about Carson Beck. Don't get me wrong. But when he stopped trying to play hero ball every single time out, which we saw a lot at Georgia, he didn't really recognize, I'm at Georgia. I could score 2 touchdowns and I'm going to win 99% of my games with this defense. He sort of learned that a little bit in Miami. He realized he didn't have to do everything. He settled in. He played well. That's something that they will have to find, and I do trust Mario Cristobal to do that. He's shown he can. He'll probably go into the portal, get another guy. There are still some out there because 200 quarterbacks entered the portal this year, which is insane. So again, I do think this could be a year where we look at it and go, oh, this is the year before Miami was back. They made it to the Natty. They lost to a very good Indiana team. And then next year they get back and win. Or they could fall apart because that just seems like a Miami thing now. They string along a couple good games and then they just lose badly. So it could just be a whole season of that. Who knows? But yeah, I am high on both these teams. I think they have a lot of questions that they have to answer. And I do think, though, we've said it. Miami, you had a very good season. You played a very good game against Indiana. There's no reason to panic. And I'm not talking about the coaching staff. They're not going to panic. They can go, we made it this far. We'll try to get farther next year. Fans should be happy. Miami's not a laughingstock anymore.
No.
But, yeah, so it was a good game. And we're talking a lot about Indiana, Ciarnan. Do you think we're ever going to see another story like Indiana?
I mean, maybe. I mean, like with NIL and people move and like coaches moving and essentially their entire starting 11 follow them, I think it's more likely than not going to happen again. Maybe not next year explicitly, but maybe possibly the year after or something like that, to have a coach with a determined winning record going to a new school, getting upgraded from a Division II school or a Group of 5 school, going into the Power 4 and winning within the first 4 years of their tenure, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I don't think we will, to be honest with you. And CBS did put out some options, and we'll go through those real quick and talk about the feasibility of them. But Indiana was at the FBS level or whatever it was before that for about 100 years. Mm-hmm. It was a bad 100 years. In 2023, Tom Allen's last year, they went 3-9. Curt Cignetti came in 11-2, takes them to the first round of the playoffs, loses. Year 2, 16-0. I don't think they had a season where they won 10 games before that 11-win season last year. And looking at the win percentage, or FBS teams ranked by their win percentage, Indiana is 125th out of 136. They're 534, 715, and 44 overall in their history. Some schools around them, Rice, FAU, Buffalo, Wake Forest, Monroe, and UNLV are that 124 to 130. Go up a little bit higher. Northwestern at 120, 577, 716, and 44. Iowa State, 585, 685, and 46. So I don't know. I don't trust Northwestern to ever do anything like this. And I think they're the best option of what it could be. I mean, Iowa State, they had success under Campbell. It wouldn't be as drastic a turnaround. Tulane, same thing, going up a little higher to 117. Kansas State and UConn, same. They had success under their most recent coaches. If Jim Mora can continue that success to Colorado State, maybe, but they're not at a Power 5 level, so I don't think that will happen. So I think this is going to be a one situation, one absolutely unbelievable turnaround that we'll never see again.
I mean, that you do raise a good point. I think the only caveat to that being, with the fact that NIL has not been reined in at all, like there's no checks and balances anymore. People are just going to wherever they want. I think there will be a situation where enough momentum is generated behind one particular team for 1 or 2 seasons that this has the possibility of happening again. Because as we've seen, like the amount of transfers that Curt Cignetti brought in, the same situation with Matt Campbell and Penn State, the same situation with James Franklin and Virginia Tech. They're bringing guys into a very specific 1 to 2 year run that they can make the most amount of success out of the program. And I think that's trend is going to continue. Will it be as glamorous as Indiana? Probably not. But will we see similar things where a coach with a solid winning record generates enough momentum and has enough guys just for 1 to 2 years to make a push for a kind of backwater Power 4 team to like just boost their rankings a little bit and ride that wave of success? I do think is a reality. Whether they win the whole thing or at least get close to it, I think is more likely than not. Nothing to the level of Indiana, but I do think the NIL without its checks is going to cause that to happen.
You mentioned NIL. I don't disagree with you, but I do think this Indiana Hoosiers team is 1928 Coca-Cola.
Okay. Yeah.
They have the cocaine in the recipe, and then by 1929 they took it out. I think that this is going to be what gets the NCAA moving on NIL restrictions. They're going to go, Indiana won a national championship. Never again.
I mean, Kev, that's on the basis that the NCAA will even be relevant next year. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it looks like the SEC and the Big Ten are just gonna say, "See you later. We're just gonna do our own thing." So I don't even think NIL is even gonna be checked once the NCAA is just gonna have to dissolve.
That's fair. I do think though that once the Power Four kind of goes to their own model, then some of the smaller schools will push for NIL restrictions. Also, my God, to put in context of how bad Indiana is historically, they're 125th in wins. UMass is 112th.
Wow, that is bad. Damn.
Now, some of that is at the FCS level, so that's going to boost them a little bit. Mississippi State's 105th.
Wow.
Bad. So yeah, so that's just even more impressive what Curt Cignetti has done. CBS Sports did put together kind of a list of 4 schools that could potentially turn it around. Number one on their, or they didn't do rankings, but first off on the list, they had Kentucky. I see the parallels.
Mm-hmm.
They are not good at football. They're ranked 97th in total wins or win percentage at the FBS level, right behind Utah State and right there with Duke and Washington State. Basketball blue blood, but I don't know if they will ever care enough. I think they're content with just being a basketball school.
Yeah, the football is just for show.
Yeah. All right. UCLA. What are your thoughts on UCLA being the next Indiana?
It's very possible. They're in the Big Ten now. So, I mean, sure, you might as well just toss them a vote for this. The UCLA thing is interesting because, like, they've always been a fun team to watch without too much expectations. I remember when they had, I want to say it's Miles Jack, but Miles Jack, the two-way player for UCLA. When like he was playing, that was great fun to watch. I cannot imagine the state of California cares enough about football to have both USC and UCLA both be good at football at the same time.
Yes, and there are some parallels. Bob Chesney coming from JMU to UCLA, like Cignetti did. I think UCLA historically is too good. They will not get it, and they've been terrible for a while, but they're top 50 in win percentage. They have a claimed national title. They have won the Pac-12 twice in our lifetime. They've won the Pac-12 South twice in the past 15 years. And a Heisman winner. They're too good. They cannot be the next Indiana.
They're too good to have the jump, is what you're saying. Like they couldn't just have been bad in recent memory.
Yes, to really get the whole experience, they need to be historically downtrodden.
Understood. So, like, if you were to say, like, Rice University, like, if they went on, like, some incredible run, like Indiana, that would be acceptable because they're right down there. Yeah,
Rice. Right. The most famous thing about Rice football is that JFK, in his "We Will Go to the Moon" speech, said how terrible Rice is at football. So, yeah, Rice would count. Next up, Virginia Tech. Honestly, kind of the same thing as UCLA. Not quite as good historically, but nationally relevant. Yeah. They are national finalists. They're top 30 in win percentage.
I was going to say
they had Mike Vick. So I think they're too relevant.
Yeah, they're way too relevant.
And their final one, Oklahoma State. And Ken, what are your thoughts on Oklahoma State being the next? Indiana.
Well, again, far too good in recent memory. Like, it wasn't even 10, 15 years ago when I don't want to say challenging for the national championship, but they were certainly up there in terms of rankings. They were routinely in the top 25, and they were playing bowl games and winning them. So they are way too good, especially recently, to warrant this kind of treatment.
That's true. They are a little bit lower on the win percentage. They're 80th. But yeah, it would not be that drastic of a turnaround as Indiana would be. And recently, and they have claimed national title.
Yeah. Way too good.
Indiana, it was so bad before. And I don't know how else to put it besides pulling up their Wikipedia and seeing what awards they have. They won the Big Ten 3 times, once in 1945, once in 1967, and this year. And they have 9 All-Americans in 100 years. They have 6 bowl wins, Ciarnan.
Total.
3 of them came this year.
Oh.
Half of this program's I said it on our Natty preview show we did live on Monday. The high point of this program was when a media personality won the Holiday Bowl. No shade to Lee Corso, but that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think we will ever see another Indiana, at least in as dramatic as it was, from them going from the pits of despair to just dominating everyone.
Yeah. And as long as Curt Cignetti is at Indiana, I think their winning record will continue.
How high do you think they'll get on the win percentage?
So what are they now? 125?
125.
With Curt Cignetti at the helm, he's got an 8-year deal. No, 11-year deal?
I believe it just signed an 8-year deal.
8-year deal. That's what I thought.
For comparison, by the way, Utah State is the only 500 team at 96.
Okay. So the 8-year deal, and there's 16 maximum of 16 games. He'll win on he goes undefeated for the next 8 years. He'll win another 128 games. So I say he gets as high as, I don't know what, the 85th percentile or 85th percent, somewhere around there.
So if he went undefeated for the next 8 years, Ciarnan,
yeah,
Indiana would not get back to 500.
Yeah. That's great.
Like, I don't even know how many years he'd have to go undefeated to, because it's about 180 difference.
Oh wow, that's way more than I thought. Yeah,
181 games away from 500. He would need to go undefeated for 11 years and then win a third of his games in the 12th year to get back to 500.
That's wild. That's wild.
So I think like a 115 range
is acceptable. I mean, anything is better than where they are now. It's
jumping 10 spots. So yeah, I mean, look, if Curt Cignetti gets this team to 500, I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if he coaches another 30 years there. If he gets them to 500 when it's all said and done, move over, Nick. We got to do greatest coach of all time.
That's so true. That is so true. I'm so upset. No, I'm not upset. I totally get it. But I'm so like frustrated that Penn State was not able to get Cignetti when they wanted to, like when it was like that 3-day span between us firing James Franklin and him signing the new contract. I would have just loved Pat Kraft to have been like, "Yo, we'll pay whatever."
Hey, Curt, you want $30 billion a year?
Yeah, whatever. Here's a blank check. Write whatever amount you deem appropriate.
Curt Cignetti seems like the kind of guy who would write in like 150K.
Yeah, he does seem like that. And he would use it exclusively to buy beer.
That's true. All right, so there's really our Natty and Indiana being in the depths of college football talk. Moving on to next season, Ciarnan.
Yes.
Call your shot. Who's winning the Natty?
Oh, this one's gonna hurt. I'm just gonna swing for the fences. Texas Longhorns. Hate it or love it.
I was gonna say, Ciarnan, that's a bold take and saying that's what every single media person's gonna do in like 3 months' time.
Well, I did it first.
That's fair. I want to say Alabama.
Oh, come on.
Bias is shit. Fine, F it, Ciarnan. Indiana goes back to back.
There you go. That's a pick.
Back to back natties for the Hoosiers.
Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna change it just to wind you up. Notre Dame.
They'd have to win a big game, so
Yeah. That's why it's a long shot.
Marcus Free would have to stop assaulting people at wrestling tournaments.
Yeah. The violent
allegedly. No, I mean, that's another one that people are going to make. They're going to go, oh, Notre Dame, they have a really good roster. CJ Carr is the Heisman frontrunner before we play any games. And then they're going to start playing games. And it's going to, oh, no, CJ Carr is not a Heisman candidate.
No, I know. My original pick is going to be the Longhorns.
I also have a weird Ohio State feeling, but
yeah, I don't know about that because, like, they need an offensive coordinator first of all.
That's what I was gonna say. If they get an offensive coordinator who calls plays, then I will pick Ohio State. But until that happens, Indiana back to back.
Yeah.
And UCLA makes the college football playoffs. That's my other bold take.
That is a bold take. I'm scrolling through some like way too early top 25 things, and I am frankly disgusted that Penn State is 22. I genuinely thought they wouldn't be on this thing.
I'm curious if they would be higher or lower with James Franklin, or if they would be the exact same.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I don't really know. If they had the same season, with James Franklin still at the helm, I don't think that they would be ranked. I think it is purely the fact that we've basically become the Cyclones, and the fact that it's a new coach is the only reason we're even ranked.
I think, though, people would talk themselves into, well, James Franklin's not a bad coach. There's no way they're going to be this bad in back-to-back years. We'll stick them at 22 to seem smart and get ahead of the curve.
That's fair.
But talking about way too early rankings, we still have one more AP poll to get through, Ciarnan.
Yes.
The final AP poll of the season. We took a break for the college football playoffs because we stopped talking about the AP poll when that happens. But same as always, we'll go through the others receiving votes, then 5 at a time. Others receiving votes: Illinois at 123, Washington at 76, SMU with 69, nice, Duke with 58, Arizona with 54, Georgia Tech with 44, Tennessee with 10, Mizzou with 8, Louisville with 7, Old Dominion with 3, Western Michigan with 2, Wake Forest with 2, Hawaii and Boise State both with 1. Shout out Timmy Chang in that 1 vote for the Rainbow Warriors. And shout out Old Dominion. Your campus is disgusting, but you got 3 votes. Thoughts on the others receiving votes?
Not particularly.
All right.
Georgia Tech is lower than I suspected.
Which one?
Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they did lose the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Yeah, but Illinois at 123 votes to Georgia Tech's 44. I think that's an interesting one. I don't know if I like that.
That's fair.
And Duke won the ACC. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, they went 8-5, and they're suing their quarterback, Ciarnan.
So does that preclude them from getting votes?
They got votes. They got 58 of them.
Yeah, it's a little bit low.
Moving on. Sue your quarterback, and maybe you'll get in. Look, the two schools suing their quarterbacks, Washington and Duke, both just receiving votes, not ranked.
I'm not saying they should be ranked. I just think they should have more votes.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, moving on to the actual ranked teams. TCU at 9-4 with number 25, 24 North Texas at 12-2, 23 Navy at 11-2, Houston 10-3 at 22, Michigan 9-4 sitting at 21. Ciarnan, thoughts?
Who gives a shit? No. These guys all won their bowl games, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Well, there you go.
Navy should be higher, but that's just
yeah. There's just the AP doesn't respect the troops.
Hates the troops. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. USC at number 20 with a 9-4 record. James Madison at 12-2, sitting at 19. Tulane 18 with 11-3 record. Iowa at 9-4, the most Iowa record imaginable at 17, and Virginia, who got screwed by Duke, sitting at 11-3 at number 16. Iowa is perpetually 8-4.
I was literally just going to say the same thing.
They're going to finish the season 8-4, and then the bowl game, it's a toss-up. Tulane, James Madison, great seasons from them making it into the playoffs. Love to see it. And yeah, Virginia got screwed, but Miami got in probably because Duke beat Virginia. So any thoughts?
Iowa Hawkeyes are the Pittsburgh Steelers of college football.
Exactly.
They can always get exactly. They can always get a winning record, but they're not going to do much other than that.
No. Well, Iowa did do something.
I mean, what specifically?
Blew out Vandy?
Oh, yeah, but that's only because the whole of the country was encouraging them to beat the shit out of Diego Pavia.
That's true.
So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt there.
Also, I will say Iowa did win by 7, but they scored 34. That's blowing a team out by Iowa standards.
Yeah.
Iowa could lose 41-34, and that would still be a blowout for the offense.
Yes, definitely.
And a blowout for the defense because Iowa will never give up 41. Moving on, we're into the top 15. Vandy, 10-3, sitting in number 15. Utah, number 14, sitting at 11-2. Oklahoma, 10-3 at 13. And Texas, also 10-3, sitting at number 12. And the people's champion, BYU Cougars, sitting at number 11. No real thoughts here, I don't think.
None for me. I mean, it's kind of all distant memory at this point because the last time they played was this time
a month ago.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that's true. I do like seeing Texas and Oklahoma next to each other, though.
It is fun.
All right, moving on to the top 10. Notre Dame sitting at number 10 with a 10-2 record. Alabama at number 9, sitting at 11-4. Texas A&M 11-2 at number 8. Texas Tech 12-2 at number 7. And Georgia, number 6 at 12-2. Notre Dame, shut up. Oh, we should have been in the playoffs. Yeah, you're still ranked behind Alabama. Suck it. I hate you. I hate all of you. You're not a good football team. You're garbage. And your coach gets into altercations at wrestling meets for his son.
And moving on.
Any thoughts besides what I just said?
No, I mean, you've pretty much nailed it.
I was about to say that's not saying Ciarnan agrees with what I said, just in case we do get sued by Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, so I'm not named in the lawsuit.
Yeah. So Ciarnan doesn't agree with me. I was just asking if he has something to say about the other teams, and he does not. Not saying he agrees with what I said. You're welcome, Ciarnan.
Thanks.
Top 5. Ohio State at 12-2. Oregon 13-2 at number 4. Ole Miss 13-2 at number 3. Miami 13-3 at number 2. And Indiana, of course, 16-0. Dominated everyone. 66 first place votes. No one else got a first place vote. So yeah. Any thoughts on the top 5?
Yeah, actually, this is where I actually do have thoughts. Ole Miss and Oregon played very, very well. They were just beaten by the better team on the day, in Ole Miss's case. And then Oregon was properly beaten by the number 1 team in the country, Indiana. It was a shit show. The one thing I will say, though, is on Twitter, a guy by the name of Woody, many O's in the name Woody, said, NGL, Ohio State would beat both of these teams, and referring to the Miami versus
Saw that.
Indiana game. They lost to both of those teams. That's why they're not in it. Like, how could you be so naive that you just think yeah, this is I'm gonna tweet this out and be right. Like, what?
It's not necessarily naive, it's delusional.
Yeah, it is delusional.
And
no, they wouldn't
look,
beat both those teams because the only 2 losses that Ohio State has were the 2 teams that are playing in the national championship. And that's a great thing for Ohio State to lose to the 2 teams that make it to the national championship. It's like, oh, well, we lost to the 2 best teams in the country. Those are good losses, right? Nobody's going to fault them for that. But the fact that Ohio State fans, they're almost exactly like Notre Dame fans, which is why they're so annoying, think that their team is better because they're perpetual 10-win, 11-win teams is insane.
At least Ohio State has won something.
I will agree with that. Yeah.
Won multiple things.
Yeah.
But no, Ciarnan, you pointed out those are 2 good losses, and we all know good losses get you into the playoffs.
Yes.
So Ohio State is going to the Natty if Mike Pence has the courage.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, no, it's ridiculous to say. Oh, you know what, Ciarnan? I'm glad Woody said that because he's brave, and I think I'm ready to say Alabama would have beaten Indiana in the national championship.
Yeah, of course. I think Penn State would have beaten Indiana in the championship. You give us another turn at that 4th down call towards the end zone, I think he steps out this time.
Yeah, and also I think Texas would have won the national championship if Colt didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's as my computer's freezing and dying. All right, we're back. It decided to start. Maybe I'll keep it in. Who knows?
That's what she said.
But Ciarnan, moving on to some other news in the college football world outside of the Natty. Duke is suing their quarterback, as we alluded to. Darian Mensa signed a 2-year deal with the Blue Devils to return. And that said he's going to hit the portal anyway, like Damon Williams did. And now Duke's suing him. And they're saying he can't do that. They got a restraining order against Mensa, so he can't enter the portal. But then it came out the NCAA says they had to. So they let him into the portal, but the restraining order says he cannot enroll at or play football for another school. Ciarnan, what are your thoughts on Darian Mensa?
If you sign a contract for whatever it is, right? An NIL is involved, or a particular amount of time at a particular school is involved, and those words are legible on a piece of paper, you have to honor the contract. You cannot be willy-nilly just going wherever you want, whenever you want. If you didn't have that contract, I'd be like, yeah, do whatever you want. It doesn't matter, right? Like if you signed with, a car dealership or somebody giving you a sponsorship outside of the school, yeah, I mean, it's still a contract and there's still repercussions, but like, it doesn't really matter. But like when you sign up for a school and do any part of the revenue sharing business that's going on now, those terms have to be met. It plain and simple, right? College football is now just semi-professional NFL, but those terms still need to be met. Like it's a contract that you are entering into willingly, so you have to deal with the repercussions. If it means you're staying there for 2 years, you're staying there for 2 years. Tough.
Yeah, we're going to reach a point where there's going to start being opt-outs in these contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be, and someone's going to push her. I want to opt out after 2 weeks. And the school's going to say, no, shut up.
Yeah, your opt out is like, it has to be a year and then you can opt out. Like it's wild.
Yeah, I'm very pro player movement. This show is very pro player. Just kind of getting their money and
100%.
being able to move freely. But if you sign a contract, you got to stay there, or else you are going to get sued for breach of contract. That's why it's a thing. You're breaching the contract. New idea for a class all student athletes have to take. What is a contract?
Law 101.
Not even that. Just what is a contract? It's ATH for athletics 100. Yeah. First lesson. See this piece of paper that spells out certain requirements of you that you have to sign? That is a contract. You have to follow what this contract says if you sign it. So, yeah, it's insane that this is going on still, that these kids are so dumb. Not kids are so dumb. That's unfair. That it's such an issue that people are preying on these kids because there's no real rules in place for who can be an agent, who can represent these players. All major leagues have those requirements kind of. You need to be, I don't know if it's accredited as an agent or professional licensing, but you need it. You don't need that in college. So you have people in their ears telling them, no, transfer. That piece of paper, that doesn't matter. And then they're getting screwed.
Yeah.
So stop just listening to everyone on the street.
Yeah. The whole point of the NCAA was supposed to be they were supposed to be the protection against kind of exploitation is a harsh word, but taking advantage of, 18, 19-year-old kids who are making a decision on where to go to school and how it impacts their future. Because, as I went to school for an engineering degree, I was expecting to become an engineer. You can go to a school to play football and expect to be in the NFL. Right? I mean, that's a legitimate jump. Don't get me wrong. It's a very difficult jump, but it's a legitimate jump. Like, there are expectations when you do things, and the NCAA was supposed to be kind of the bulwark against them just taking advantage and going, oh, you don't need to go to class or anything like that. And now it's become a completely defunct sort of organization that is just held up together with scotch tape and string. And it doesn't have the power that like the NFLPA does, like the players associations of all the major leagues does, that has active collective bargaining power because they're not technically employees. And it's this whole cyclical thing that's just going wild.
Yeah. And I do think the NCAA, and I'm not trying to blame everything on the NCAA. No. I don't like treating them as the boogeyman. But part of the problem was the NCAA, it's there as a barrier to protect the players, like you said. If you view that as a barrier, getting a lot of pressure from one side, instead of slowly alleviating that pressure by putting a little hole in there, letting some of the water flow out, a little more a little easier for player movement with the transfer portal, some NIL, rudimentary NIL things, let the pressure slowly release, and then you won't have as many issues. Instead, they stopped. They said, nope, not going to do it. Turn their backs to the dam that was the NCAA, and then it all just broke through at once, and now college football is essentially dead.
Yeah, I mean, schools are suing kids for breaches of contract. That was never a thing 5 years ago. That wasn't even heard of 5 years ago. It's bonkers that we're having schools sue, at most 22, 23-year-old kids, and at the youngest side, 18, 19-year-old kids, and suing them for, whatever breach of contract and whatever repercussions come of that. There's no guarantee that those losses are going to be made up, whatever comes of it. So it's wild.
Yeah. I'm just getting bummed out. Let's move on. Unfortunately, Ciarnan, a second Mendoza will not be playing for Indiana, as Alberto Mendoza has announced he is transferring to Georgia Tech to play under Brent Key. Sucks. Would have been a lot of fun to see.
Yeah.
Back-to-back Mendozas winning natties because Indiana is going back-to-back. But unfortunately, he's going to Georgia Tech.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to be replacing Heinz King, first team All-ACC performer who accounted for about 10,000 total yards, 91 touchdowns over his 3 years. See, a kid that sticks with his guns at Georgia Tech. But
after transferring from Texas A&M.
Shut up. But after the Hoosiers picked up Josh Hoover out of TCU, I guess Cignetti just wanted,
Furry, yeah.
Yeah, furry, that's right, yeah. But, Cignetti and his scouts saw something in Josh Hoover. So for Mendoza to make that commitment right after the championship is good on Mendoza, because it's like, yeah, okay, clearly he was going to fill a void. He's a solid quarterback. There's no doubting that. I think he is going to be able to shine at Georgia Tech and certainly step out of the shadow of his brother. So I think this is a good move actually for him. It does kind of suck that we can't see a back-to-back Mendoza Cignetti championship with Indiana, but I think it is ultimately the right move.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think regardless of how good he did this year, if he did not go undefeated, win the Heisman and win a Natty, he was always going to be second fiddle. They're always going to talk about how great Fernando was. Now, how Alberto was good. So I think this allows him to kind of go out, make his own name, forge his own path, and yeah, good for him. I don't have any issues with the move.
No, makes total sense.
And now, Ciarnan,
yes,
on to our last topic of the season, really.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to our schedule after this, but last topic of the college football season. What are we going to remember from this year? How is it going to be remembered?
I mean, there's really only one word for it. Indiana. I mean, it is the main talking point. As much fun as it was to, I think the other one is maybe another word that you could possibly use is variety. There were so many different wins, and I felt like so many more upsets because kids were transferring to different schools, getting into systems that fit them better for whatever reason. I mean, tons of coaches were fired. And that happens every year, but bigger names, people got hired, like Lane Kiffin with that whole mess about Ole Miss. So I think variety is certainly one of them, and just not having, and just having Indiana win it is just phenomenal, because it's like they're such a long shot.
Yeah, I would also say drama. A lot of it coming from Lane, but it felt like there was something new going on every week that we had to talk about, some big story, not just play on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I do think this season will be remembered similarly to 2007, with all the upsets, all the teams moving in and out of the top 25, and teams that aren't good suddenly being good, like Kansas that year, Indiana this year. Obviously, Indiana did go farther. So yeah, I think this will go down as a 2007-esque season. I also think this will be the season that I was proven wrong so much. It felt like every week I had to come on and be like, I was wrong. And not about necessarily game picks, and I was wrong about a lot of those, except the ones I did for Belly Up Socials. Go follow at Belly Up Sports. I was right a lot on those and the picks, actually. But on the show, I was wrong a lot. And I did say kind of, the expand playoff doesn't matter. NIL doesn't matter. Transportal doesn't matter. It's just going to be the rich continuously getting richer. And then Indiana went out and proved me wrong every single week and won the Natty. So I will say I'm wrong about that. But yeah, so it was a fun season. The 2025 season was great. I wish Alabama did better, as Ciarnan wishes Penn State did better. But can't win them all. And at least we had fun along the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
real Natty.
Yeah,
was the friends we made along the way.
The real friends were the Pop-Tarts that we saw eaten and sacrificed at the end of that game.
I ordered the Pop-Tarts Bowl quarter zip, and it's not shipping until like February, but I'm so excited.
That's dope. You got to show me that.
Oh, I'm going to wear it on the show, like every week.
Fantastic.
But, all right, Ciarnan, we'll get to our schedule real quick.
Yep.
We haven't really talked about the schedule going forward. We're going to do an episode next week. We have talked about that. We're going to do an awards show. I'm going to put up a form on our socials for people to fill out. We're going to get votes for things like best guest. We've only had 3 this year. It was Kelsey, DJ, and Jared. So you're going to vote for best guest. The Tailgate Award for best player, offense or defense, doesn't matter. I think we're going to do second best team in the country because you have obviously the national champion, but I think second best will get a lot of attention or not attention, but a lot of different votes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, some other stuff. We'll think of some other topics we'll do. Anything you want to be included in the awards, Ciarnan?
I can't think of something off the top of my head, but I'm sure they'll come to me as the week goes on.
Most disappointing team?
Oh, that's a buy. That's Penn State.
Well, for you, for other people, they might be
no. In terms of expectation to utter abysmal black hole abyss, it's Penn State. Like, yeah, there's 7-6 at the end of the year, but we had to claw out those 7 wins. Like,
yeah,
like we were slated to arguably win the national championship, and I say with a good margin that was a good bet. And by week 4, it was all over.
But who knows? Maybe other people would be more disappointed in their teams. So. Ooh, worst team. The opposite of a Natty.
Yeah, I guess you could.
It's UMass, but we'll put this out. We'll do this. We'll think of stuff. I will put together a list. Ciarnan and I will talk about it, and we'll put it out Friday probably. So check out our socials on Friday for that form to fill out to get your votes in ahead of our show on Wednesday. And then after that, Ciarnan, I think we've earned a break.
Yes.
Now, I took off a week in the middle of the season for my honeymoon. You took off a couple weeks for yours, but I think we earned a break. How long you want our break to be? We'll figure this out live on the show.
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Is that fair?
Okay. Yeah. Well, initially I said until after the Super Bowl. I'm like, that's 1 week off. I want a little bit longer of a break. And then I was like, maybe March, but that's a whole month, and I don't want to do that either. So I think 3 weeks. I think that'll give us the Super Bowl and then 2 weeks, and then we'll come back in February and go from there.
All right.
Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well,
thanks
for sticking with us through the season, everyone.
Yeah, onwards and upwards.
Fun season. Yeah.
Onwards, to 2026. Here we go.
Yeah. Our first full season with video.
Yes, very true.
It feels like we've been doing it the whole time.
It does, weirdly. Yeah, it really does.
But yeah, so roll Hoosiers. Everyone have a good, safe, fun rest of your week.
Rest of your year. Jesus.
Christy, we'll be back in a couple weeks. We'll be
No,
back
no,
in
I know, but like
36.
college football won't be back until next
yeah.
September.
Yeah, we got to figure out off-season topics. Shit.
Well, with all the NIL crap, I'm sure other stuff will come up.
That's true. All right. See ya.
See ya.
They're eating the dogs, Ciarnan, in Tuscaloosa.
They're eating the
you
dogs.
know that?
They were
They're
eating
the dogs.
Oh, a meth raccoon.
Yeah.
Just awful. There is nothing good about this. It's the worst possible scenario for the CFP, for the national championship.
Notre Dame is a mid-program with really good marketing.
And the Michigan players are going to look at that, and anybody who's committing to Michigan in the next years will just go, I want to beat them even more. Like, I wanted to beat them when I first came to the school. Recruits are going to see this.
You have, as some fans have put it, a mascot flashing their pop tussie out.
Oh, God, that's going to be part of our intro next year. Oh, shit.